Capricorn was kind of the final attempt, or would have been the final window for them to kind of utilize Pluto's energy to establish what their vision was, like John Greer talks about, that their vision was this very dystopian world, this very cold, ugly, dark AI, everything that was against the cosmos, right? Everything that was against nature, was against source. That was, of course, their vision. That's the New World Agenda, all of that. Now that window closes because when Pluto enters Aquarius on March 23rd, he will only stay there for about 6 weeks, because he's going to go retrograde on May 1st. But then he won't actually dip back into Capricorn until the middle of June. So we have a good 6 weeks of Pluto being in Aquarius, which will be more than enough time for it to give us those first kind of jolts, those first really big booms of the Aquarian paradigm. It'll go back into Capricorn for the later half of the year from June till the end. And then early next year, of course, he'll move again forward, and then we'll officially be, anchoring in that full Aquarian energy. But I feel that March 23rd is in many ways the cutoff date to where those agendas and that vision of that dystopia is obviously no longer occurring, and it's not going to be successful. So when Pluto does enter Aquarius, this is the last. Pluto in Aquarius will ultimately be the last Pluto cycle, so to speak. Because if we consider the fact that Pluto's been demoted to a dwarf planet, we're not on a consciousness level, we no longer need Pluto's archetype. I think Pluto will transform into another archetype as a dwarf planet. He'll provide us still with support, but it'll be something different. His mission was short. It was for this time period, this last 100 years, and that was it. He came for a very specific reason. And now his reason is closing, his chapter's closing. And so this Pluto and Aquarius transit will ultimately be the last Plutonian era, really, as his archetype fades out. And what I feel from all these little nuggets that were in here was that the dark night of the soul was, as we've said, we all know it, it's the splitting, it's the separation, it's the division, it's the disconnection, it's everything against nature and against source. And now Pluto entering Aquarius will ultimately be the healing of that all, because Pluto's not just going to phase out without coming full circle. Pluto's all about coming full circle. He is the phoenix rising from the ashes. He's not just here to destroy things and then dip out. He's not here to bring us to the underworld without guiding us back up to the light. So Pluto entering Aquarius, I feel, this is his final mission in that way, as his influences wanes, and he brought us into the underworld, and now he's bringing us back up to the light, and that's going to be through his transit in Aquarius. So we are now coming from this very extreme separation, this very extreme disconnection, fragmentation. We've gone basically down so far into the depths of darkness and unconsciousness. The only way now is up. And Aquarius, of course, is the paradigm we're in. It's the representation of unity. It's the representation of community, of being an individual while still honoring the whole. So it's the synergy of having an empowered sovereign self inside of the whole who all works together. It's the humanitarianism. It's the new earth, basically. So he talks about how his predictions are that we will see the last of nuclear war, which confirms, because we know the galactics have destabilized and kind of neutralized that technology. So that ultimately there will be no more nuclear power. There will be no more nuclear wars, no more nuclear weapons in general. So that was his prediction, which I feel is very much true. He also talked about how He feels there's going to be a big change in terms of space travel, because for a while we were all, right, humanity was obsessed with space travel, wanting to go to the moon, wanting to go to Mars, and we know the fakeness of all of that. Now it's kind of the opposite. Now we're seeing the galactics are coming to us. Everyone is coming together here because this is the final ascension point. That's why now people are starting to see ships in the sky. They're starting to bring a trickle disclosure of the fact that there are whatever they want to call UFOs, blah, blah, blah. It's the galactics. They are all merging with us. They are all coming here to the final ascension point. So instead of being obsessed with going out there, it's going to be about being here. He also said he feels there's going to be a phasing out of this deep kind of psychoanalysis. He said part of the problem was that the psychotherapists generally were early adopters of disease management role of medicine, in which healthcare professionals manage illnesses instead of curing them. Important. They were obsessed with managing illness and sickness and mental health, not curing it. That's where Pluto's descent down to the bottom now comes up, where we finally realize we cure it with love. He said this became a highly lucrative arrangement for the healthcare industry. Yeah, no shit. He also talked about how he feels the arts would return to being, much more back in synergy with the cosmos. So he said this would allow us to basically merge back with the concept of a beautiful ordered cosmos. The study of sacred geometry he felt would have a boom. So all the things that we have felt to be true. And he said only